Botten, a talented lawyer with an undeniable reputation, stepped off the train as he returned to his hometown after years of working in the city. At 35, he had become a symbol of integrity and an unwavering spirit against injustice. But that evening, as he walked into the small grocery store he had frequented during his childhood, Botten could never have predicted that fate would put him through one of his toughest challenges. Dressed sharply in a tailored suit with a calm demeanor, he strolled through the aisles, carefully selecting ingredients for a special dinner he planned to cook for his parents. It was a meal he wanted to prepare with care, to show gratitude for the sacrifices they had made for him over the years. The flavors of his hometown always brought back memories of love and family bonds, something Botten deeply cherished. The peaceful evening was suddenly shattered by a sharp, piercing scream from the far side of the store. Curious eyes turned toward the source of the noise. "Thief! That man took my wallet!" shouted a middle-aged white man, pointing directly at Botten. Botten turned around to see the man glaring at him, his face twisted with anger. He stood frozen, shocked and bewildered by the sudden accusation. In an instant, all eyes in the store seemed to focus on him, transforming the once familiar space into a tense, judgmental arena. But more than anyone, Botten understood how prejudice and bias could flare up in unexpected places. And that evening, it had found him. "Sir, you're mistaken. I haven't done anything wrong," Botten responded calmly, though a storm of disbelief swirled inside him. His voice was steady and authoritative, but the man's face remained contorted with indignation. "Don't you dare try to explain! I saw you take it when I turned around," the man yelled. The accusation hit Botten like a wave. As he tried to reason with the man, murmurs spread through the growing crowd, some of whom glanced at him with suspicion. Store employees quickly called security, and before long, 2 police officers arrived. Jack Callahan, one of the officers, approached with a cold expression. "You, hands where I can see them," he ordered curtly. Botten, still maintaining his composure, explained, "Officer, I didn't take the wallet. Please review the security footage before making any assumptions." But Callahan wasn't interested in hearing him out. "I don't need your explanation," he snapped. "Cuff him now." Without hesitation, he grabbed Botten roughly by the shoulder, locking his wrists in handcuffs. Botten, calm on the surface but boiling with frustration beneath, could feel the weight of bias and injustice bearing down on him once again. But he knew one thing for certain. The truth was on his side, and he would fight to make sure it prevailed. He could feel the astonished gazes of those around him, but no one dared to speak up. As he was shoved out of the grocery store, the murmurs of the crowd felt like daggers, cutting deep into his pride. "I'm a lawyer, and you're making a mistake," Beaton declared, but his words were drowned in the cold silence of the police officers. When the door of the police car slammed shut behind him, Botten realized he had just stepped into a battle he hadn't anticipated. A fight for truth and justice. When the door of the police car opened again, Botten was let out, his hands still tightly bound in cold metal cuffs. The glow of the streetlights illuminated his face, betraying the exhaustion beginning to show. Yet, in his eyes burned a steady flame of calm determination, like a lighthouse standing firm against a storm. In the dim, cramped interrogation room, he was forced to sit on a cold metal chair. 2 officers faced him, Callahan, still smug and arrogant, and Martinez, whose conflicted expression suggested an inner struggle. Callahan slapped a file onto the table, looking at Botten as if he had already won. "Someone saw you take the wallet," Callahan said, emphasizing each word like a knife twist. "I demand to see the surveillance footage. Have you reviewed it yet?" Botten replied calmly, directly addressing the gaping hole in their accusations. Callahan sneered. "We'll get to that later. No matter how smart you think you are, you're just a thief." At that moment, Erica Cole, Botten's best friend and legal partner, stormed into the station. She wasted no time. "I demand you show the surveillance footage right now. Or are you obstructing justice?" Both Callahan and Martinez were caught off guard by Erica's entrance. The tension in the room boiled over, but Botten knew this was only the beginning of a long fight ahead. The courtroom buzzed with an oppressive atmosphere as every seat was filled. The air was heavy with curious stares, skeptical glances, and prejudiced glares. Botten entered with a composed demeanor, though the tension was evident in every movement he made. Beside him, Erica Cole, dressed sharply in a black suit, prepared herself to defend her client and close friend at all costs. The prosecutor began with a strong opening statement, portraying Botten as someone who exploited his status and knowledge of the law for personal gain. The testimony of the middle-aged man and a fabricated witness was presented seamlessly, painting a picture of Botten as stealthy and suspicious. The jurors' expressions initially seemed to waver under the weight of the accusations. The silence in the courtroom only heightened the tension, but Erica didn't waste any time. When her turn came, she began by questioning the evidence. Where is the surveillance footage? If these accusations are so strong, why isn't there any video proof? She challenged, her voice sharp as a blade. The prosecutor fumbled, offering the excuse that the video hadn't been extracted in time. Erica immediately requested the judge's intervention, and finally the footage was presented. All eyes in the courtroom fixated on the screen as the video revealed Botten calmly shopping, nowhere near the counter where the wallet was allegedly stolen. The truth began to unfold. Erica pressed on, cross-examining the witness, whom she quickly exposed as having not been present at the scene during the incident. The witness's testimony unraveled, becoming inconsistent and ultimately dismissed. When Botten spoke in his own defense, his voice resonated with power and emotion. Today, I'm not just defending myself. I'm fighting for everyone who has ever been oppressed by prejudice and injustice. This isn't just about a wallet, it's about honor and truth. The courtroom fell silent as he finished. Botten's words struck like a bell, ringing loudly in the minds of everyone present. As the jury left the courtroom to deliberate, the atmosphere felt frozen in time. Botten sat at his table, his gaze steady but unable to mask the tension. Erica sat beside him, her hand resting lightly on his shoulder, offering silent support. The audience exchanged whispers, but everyone knew the jury's decision would be the defining moment. Time stretched endlessly. When the door to the deliberation room finally opened, all eyes turned to the jury. The foreperson stepped forward, holding a piece of paper with an unreadable expression. "The jury has reached a verdict," he said, his voice calm but weighted with significance. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Mr. Botten, not guilty." The words tore through the suffocating tension like a blade. Botten closed his eyes and exhaled deeply, relief washing over him, while Erica smiled with pride. The courtroom erupted into cheers and applause from his supporters. Yet, amidst the noise, Botten's gaze fell on the prosecutor and those who had falsely accused him. His look carried no anger, only a message. Justice has prevailed. After the trial, Botten stepped out of the courthouse into the blinding sunlight. Surrounded by reporters and supporters, he smiled humbly and said, "Today, it wasn't just me who was vindicated. This is a victory for everyone who believes in truth and justice." Botten's story didn't end there. It became a symbol of the fight against prejudice and injustice, sparking widespread discussions within the community. Botten knew that while he had won this battle, the fight for a fairer society was far from over. After the case concluded, Botten's reputation wasn't just restored, it grew to embody the essence of justice. Media outlets continuously covered his story, from the tense moments in the grocery store to his resounding victory in the courtroom. But for Botten, this was no time for complacency. He devoted himself to organizing public speaking events, sharing his experiences, and advocating for legal system reforms. His accounts of confronting injustice and prejudice resonated with millions, igniting a spirit of activism far and wide. Botten was no longer just a man who reclaimed justice for himself. He became an inspiration for an entire generation. Building on this momentum, he and Erica co-founded a nonprofit organization to provide legal support for the wrongfully accused, particularly victims of discrimination. This organization not only helped countless individuals escape hopeless situations, but also became a powerful voice driving societal reform. Botten understood that his journey had only just begun. With every person helped, he felt an increasing sense of responsibility. Justice is not just about uncovering the truth, he once said. It's about ensuring that wrongs are never repeated. Botten's story transcended a single trial or case. It stood as a vivid testament to the dangers of prejudice and the destructive power it wields if left unchecked. Through his courage and determination, Botten not only proved his innocence but also ignited a powerful movement against societal injustice. The incident became a catalyst for widespread community action. Thousands of voices rose to demand reforms in the legal system, fueling dialogues about fairness and accountability. Workshops, media campaigns, and peaceful protests followed, all carrying the spirit of change. Botten demonstrated that justice isn't just an ideal, it's a responsibility we all share. From his story, we learn a profound lesson. Prejudice can blind people, but truth and courage have the power to overcome it. This was not just Botten's victory, it was a triumph for everyone who believes that justice is a right for all.